Every sentient species knows to stay out of the dead zone. It's far too dangerous, and the solar activity alone would be enough to roast most ships. The only ones that have ever been crazy enough or brave enough to try were outfitted with some of the most expensive shielding we could create. And even then, we didn't find much out from them. They would end up sending a few transmissions back that we couldn't quite make sense of. A few conflicting reports, and then a few things that matched up. Something about a blue speck in the night. But that was all we got. Eventually, the communications would just stop, so everyone stayed out. So it was to everyone's horror when a transmission came from the dead zone. Hello, is anyone out there? A simple phrase. It took our computers several solar rotations to actually decipher it. But eventually we could respond. Yes, we are here. To our absolute surprise, within a couple of months, we would end up sending transmissions back and forth. We couldn't quite get our own video to go through, but they would send us scattered images along with their own audio. As we come to find out, their species was called human, and they have always lived in the dead zone. They don't know anything different. We offered them a place in galactic society, which they were more than happy to accept. However, we told them that to do so, they must pay to enter, which is what we expect of all new sentient species, to pay for the honor of being one of us, to have a seat at the table. They may not have a commanding seat at the table, but they would still have a seat there as long as they were still willing to give us technology and resources. This was met with silence from the dead zone. We did not understand what the silence was about. We kept trying to contact them over and over again. Eventually, we tried to send several ships in. Of course, these ships were very well armored and needed to be fairly well armed because the amount of debris that flies around the dead zone, you must be willing to defend yourself. It was over an entire solar cycle, as the humans would put it, several years before we finally got a response. The response was simple yet confusing to us. It was, "We don't negotiate with terrorists." Now, this last word is not something that translates well. We did not understand what they meant. How could they turn down such an offer that we would allow them to be part of us, to trade with us, and all they would have to do is give us several of their planets, at least one or two every decade or so, just to as payment, as dues, to be part of our galactic union? What would be so terrible with that? It is what all the young species must do, and eventually they will all fall under our banner. It is what has been done. We don't understand. So we sent a large group of some of our best ships from all of our species to the edge of the dead zone. And with the strongest communication equipment that we could develop, we sent them a message. The message was, "Lower your weapons and prepare to pay tribute." As we were about to enter the dead zone, we had our final reply from the humans. It was in two of their different languages, which we had to translate. The first one was Malan Labe, which we still have not translated. And the second part was, "Bring it on, bitch."